Grateful to be up here today. I just celebrated 6 months of sobriety yesterday. If you would have asked me 6 months ago if I'd be standing up here, I'd have told you you're a damn liar. 6 months ago, I was in the depths of hell, literally. I overdosed on heroin August 18th, 2015, and I haven't touched heroin since, so I decided to pick up a drink because I wasn't an alcoholic, and then I found out real quickly that I am a big-time alcoholic. I lost my job as a union pipe fitter last August. I didn't get to see my daughter for 6 months almost. I went to 3 treatment centers last year. And the first one I went to in August, my mom gave me a ride and I blew a .323 and I was still coherent and able to walk. The amount of alcohol I could drink and act normal on was insane. So then I started doing cocaine to, equal out the alcohol intake. And I spent so much money on cocaine, I used to pick it up about a block from here and drive it back. I was tweaking so hard I would think people were in my house. I would look through every nook and cranny of my house 6, 7, 8 times on the phone with somebody, swearing up and down somebody's in my house. Checking the garbage cans to the washer and the dryer. It's insane the lengths we go, and I did not want to do heroin because I knew if I was to do heroin, it was going to be it. And one of these days I said, it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, I had drank like a fifth of alcohol, and I was sitting next to a cop, and I just had my windows down, and I called somebody. I'm like, hey, can you give me some heroin? And they said, no. They said, you're in a bad spot. And I said, okay. And I think that guy saved my life because that would have been it for me. I wanted to die. That's all I wanted to do because I was clean and sober for a little over 3 years before, and, I thought I could do it on my own, and I can't do it on my own. I thought it was just alcohol. Alcohol's everywhere, and it's just pot. It's legal now, and for me, it destroys my life. It takes me to places I don't want to be. My dad fixed my apartment. I went to 3 treatment centers and I AMA'd them all, which means I left. And I never left a treatment center before. I've been to 7 of them totally. And it was until I was ready, there was no change in me. And that's the sad part. I got friends on this board. I literally thought I would be on this board. And my plan before I went to treatment in California was to do a suicide by cop because that was the only way I thought that I could get out of the depths of hell that I was in because my bottom don't stop. I dig it deeper, 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 deeper. It don't stop. And if I didn't have a daughter, I don't think I would be up here. My love for her is so strong, even though she can't stop me from drinking alcohol or doing cocaine or taking Xanax bars. There's nothing that can stop me but me. And that's the sad part. You get people to come in a program or come into places, and it's not getting people to come in, it's getting them to stay. And when I went out to California this last time, February 19th, I got on the plane, and I was drunk on the plane, and I'm like, I'm gonna get some alcohol on the plane. Well, they didn't serve any alcohol on the plane, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So then I hopped on another flight to get on the plane, and I was like, well, I'm gonna drink on this plane. They didn't serve alcohol. Well, I was like, well, when I get to California, I'll drink some alcohol because, they gotta stop and take me somewhere because I'm not going anywhere unless I'm, drunk. Well, it was right on the corner was the liquor store, and the treatment center was about a block away, and the lady I was with didn't want to stop. So that was my sign right there to quit drinking alcohol. There's little signs. The only thing that's different this time than it was last time is I got a God of my understanding. Last time it was me. I was suffering from untreated alcoholism. That's all I did was me, 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 me. This time it's all, whatever my God is, I really have no idea, but I know it's something. If I got a text message or I'm thinking about somebody and they text me, that's a little sign from a God. You know, like just different little things in your life that happen. That's like, oh, that's coincidence? No, that's like a God or a higher power for me. And you know, life today is really, really, really humbling. I've been humbled a lot. Last time, you know, I got everything quickly. I got the job, I got my license, I got my car, I got, you know, a place to live. This time I had to give up everything that I worked for. My apartment, I still have my car, my Harley and whatever, but that don't mean shit, or sorry, that don't mean nothing because I've had everything. I've had the money, I've had the cars, I've had this, and I was still miserable inside trying to fill a void. This time I don't try to fill a void. You know, I actively work a program, a 12-step program, to the best of my ability, and I take suggestions. Whatever they want me to do, I do it. If they tell me to jump, I ask how high. And this is the only thing for me that works. I've tried everything. And when I was in California, I was out there for about 5 months. The doctor diagnosed me with bipolar 2 and clinical depression, which I never understood that I had. And for me, medication helps drastically. You know, like it was hard for me to go out and ask for help, but once I asked for help and I started taking my medication and I started feeling better, things got better. You know, like mental health is a huge thing, and co-occurring disorders is another huge thing. And I'm not ashamed to say that I take medication for it because of it. You know, I've done everything I possibly could to self-medicate. Why not do something positive to keep me on the right track? And it's worked so far. You know, I really can't believe I'm up here. Like, it's really, really humbling and like great to be up here. You know, my daughter couldn't be here today. She's got a doubleheader softball game, which I show up to today. And I can, obviously, but, you know, I go to her games and I sit in the heat and I do all the things that dads should do. You know, I surprised her when I came home and she started crying and gave me this biggest hug in the world. You know, that's more than anything to me. That's more than any job, that's more than any money, that's more than any house. You know, I just got a job offer for a landscaping company for $15 an hour. Well, going from making $40-some an hour to $15 an hour is a lot. But you know what? Like, I'm grateful that I got another chance. Because some people don't get another chance. You know, it's life or death for me. And I know that today. Before I would play the game. I would play the game to the best of my ability, and every time, alcohol, heroin, cocaine, it all won. Every time. So I'm doing something different this time to, you know, better my life for me, for my daughter, for my family. And, you know, she's the main reason I got sober, but I'm the main reason I stay sober. And that's all I got.
I'm a crybaby, so I keep trying not to cry every time everybody's talking. Okay, our next speaker, I'm really looking forward to hearing his story. And it's Johnny W. from Chicago Hope Dealers. Okay.
My name's Jonathan Weirich. I'm with Chicago Hope Dealers. How you guys doing out there? Everybody good? Thank you for coming out, guys. This is what communities need to be doing around the United States, man. Getting together, rallying together for addiction, recovery, overdose awareness walks, making this stigma, killing this stigma. I mean, like, there's still a huge stigma out there about addiction and overdose and everything. I mean, did you guys know that 1 out of every 3 people on the face of this planet is addicted to something? Literally. If it's not drugs, it's shopping. If it's not shopping, it's working out. If it's not working out, I mean, there's all different kinds of addictions. Anger is an addiction. Food's an addiction. There's so many different things out there. And like, so what we try to do here at Chicago Hope Dealers is we try to normalize it because, like, I mean, we're all not perfect. We're all human beings. There's only ever been one perfect person in the whole entire existence, and that was Jesus Christ himself. Yep. We're all not. I mean, we're all, we all make mistakes, and so a little bit about me. When I was born, my mother had a disease called schizophrenia, and my father was not around. I stayed with my mom for about a year when I was born, and then she went into the hospital. And she stayed in the Elgin Mental Institute, Illinois State Mental Institute in Elgin, and that's where she passed away in 2001. She had schizophrenia. She was a level 9 maximum security patient there. So she was never really a part of my life. I did visit her every now and then throughout my life, but that's where she passed away. My father did not come into the picture until I was about 30 years old. So I went through about 35 foster homes from the ages of 2 until I was 11 or 12 years old. So I never felt like I belonged anywhere. I always felt like an outcast, bounced around, went to all kinds of schools. I got kicked out of many schools because I was acting out. I do believe that I was born an addict, and that's just me, right? At a very young age, when I was in one of these foster homes, I stole the bottle of Flintstone vitamins and I ate the whole entire bottle. And I spent the evening puking in the backyard by doing that. And then the foster parents went and bought another bottle, and the very next day I did the same thing again. So I mean, like, for me, I think I was born an addict, and that's just my preference, right? So my father is an addict, my grandfather was an addict, my great-grandfather was an addict, so it's like a lineage of addiction. So with my kids, I'm trying to curve that, right? So let's see, so I was in behavior disability classes going through school. I was they put me on a thing called Ritalin for ADHD. That really kicked off my addiction. From Ritalin, it went to Adderall and all of that. By the time I was 11, 12 years old, I've already tried some of the...
Hello? That's way better. I can't hear it.
Do a sound check here.
Sound check one,
Johnny's
check two.
a little hyperactive, so
Yeah, I like to walk around. I don't like being tethered to a mic, so that's better. That's way better. Right on. Check one, check two. Mic. All right, so like I said, so basically, where was I? All right, so yeah, I went through behavior disability classes, was kicked out of multiple places. Man, I never felt like I belonged. Always felt like, nobody really wanted me. Nobody wanted to be a part of my life, and rightfully so, right? So then, at the age of 11 years old, I emancipated myself from the state of Illinois. By the time I was 12, I was on my own. I moved out to Chicago on the west side, started hanging out with my cousin, and my cousin got arrested, and then I started running with the people on the streets out there. And that's when it started getting crazy, right? I mean, all the drug dealing and ripping and running. I'm not going to go through the whole drug log. I mean, I've done just about every drug known to mankind out there. Basically, 26 years of active addiction. I spent 12 years in prison and jails. I've been shot 4 times, stabbed 3 times. I overdosed and died twice. And today I sit here with 5 years, 11 months, and 10 days clean. Thank you. And basically, like, if I can do it, straight up, like, if I can do it, anybody can do it, right? Ex-gangbanger, drug dealer, drug runner, lost it. Oh, it keeps going out. Please get closer. Do I gotta get closer? Okay. Hello. All right, cool. So yeah, ex-gangbanger, ex-drug dealer, gutter rat, dope fiend, like me. If I can get clean, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live, anyone can, legitimately. And this is what we do here at Chicago Hope Dealers. We go around the whole entire country and we spread this message. Because it doesn't matter how young you are, how old you are, what color you are, It doesn't matter, what ethnic, what race you are. It doesn't matter how much money you got. It doesn't matter how little money you got. This disease does not discriminate. And I like what my man over there said earlier. It's true. The disease does not discriminate. It kills everybody the same. It really does. So this is basically, in the last 5 years of my recovery, I've lost over 500 people to this disease. Close friends, family. Buried my baby sister 2 years ago. And I'm a part of Narcotics Anonymous. That's the program that I choose to go to, and that's what works for me. That and church. I was just recently baptized, and now Jesus is my Savior. And that took me some time to get to that point, right? So I came into recovery and I didn't even know what it was, and I had this resentment against God, and I didn't know what I was doing or where I was going or what to think. So I started, I started using the group. And basically this is how it broke down, right? I walked into recovery. When I first walked into the rooms, I went from the gift of desperation, and that was the G-O-D of my life. That was the gift of desperation. And that gift of desperation turned into good orderly direction, which was the G-O-D, which was the group. I used the group of Narcotics Anonymous. I used my network, and that was my higher power at the time. And then after I worked some steps and I worked the program and I reached out and I started doing service work and everything else, all of a sudden that gift, good orderly direction, turned into a higher power of my own understanding, and that's what it morphed into that. And then after I stayed clean and I worked some more steps and I started doing more service work and I started hanging out with other people that are winning in recovery, my higher power morphed into Christianity, and now it's Jesus Christ. And that's amen, right? And it's awesome. I love it. God has blessed me with a ton of stuff, man. The more good I do, the more service work I do. I keep doing the right things for the right reasons. I pray. I get into the literature. I get into the Bible. I keep going to church, and I keep out here networking and just meeting more like-minded people that want to better their life. My life unfolds, and the blessings unfold with it. And it keeps on going constant, right? Oh, so check this out. I'm going to tell you a little story. So last weekend, me and Myra, the week before, that's my beautiful fiance, by the way. She's over there in the blue tent. That's my number one right there. She's my best friend, and soon to be married, just so you guys know too. So, yep. And so check this out. This is how my higher power works, right? This is how Jesus works for me, right? So about 2 weeks ago, we were like, yeah, we're gonna check. So I just got baptized 3 weeks ago, right? So then we're like, hey, we're gonna go find a church in our area and everything. So we were like, hey, so let's go check out this church. And we were gonna go do it last Sunday, and instead we ended up doing other stuff. And so this is how my higher power works for me, right? All of a sudden, I'm having car trouble. Next thing you know, my car isn't working. Next thing you know, I'm taking it to the mechanic, thinking the mechanic's gonna fix it, and it doesn't get fixed. Then I'm running around trying to find a vehicle. Now I'm vehicleless, and I'm all over the place trying to do all this different stuff. I go to the car dealer. The car dealer's giving me the runaround. I'm can't get the plates. And this is going on, that's going on. So then I have a spiritual mentor, which I sponsor in Narcotics Anonymous. He sponsors me in the Bible and Christianity. And he goes, hey, check this out. He goes, isn't it kind of coincidental you said you were going to go to church, and then you didn't go to church and all this stuff happened to you? Isn't that kind of coincidental that happened? He's like, I'm just saying, I'm not getting on you or anything, but it's just kind of weird that it happened that way. So we're going to church this Sunday, needless to say. So nothing ever happens by coincidence. I believe that every person I run into, everything that happens in my life, good or bad or whatever, it builds me into the person that I need to be. It also, the people that I meet are my higher power's way of communicating to me through other people. And that's a big thing, because when I first came into recovery, I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't trust anybody. Didn't want to be around anybody. And it took me a little while to be able to get out of my comfort zone, to be able to grow to this point, to be able to start trusting people, and to be able to start with right winners that are actually doing this thing and succeeding in life. And we have a thing what we call is stick with the winners, because if you stick with the winners, you're going to win. Simple as that. I got another good friend of mine. He said, hey, if you got one guy, one guy's hanging out with a group of millionaires. You got 5 millionaires and the other guy isn't a millionaire. He hangs out with those millionaires long enough, he's going to become a millionaire. That's just how it goes. And so I try to surround myself with a core network of people that are all about recovery, all about now Christianity, all about bettering their life, smashing goals, taking names, doing all kinds of different stuff to exceed in their life, and also help out other people around us. Because I truly believe that that's what we were meant to be put on this earth for. We were meant to be put on this earth to help one another. That's it. And I truly believe that, and we try to do that. So me and Myra, I met Myra about 2 years into my recovery. And she and we started hanging out and talking, and she ended up moving up here with me. Once we moved in together, we started building Chicago Hope Dealers. So when we built Chicago Hope Dealers, it's still like this. She mentors the women, I mentor the men. We talk to a lot of different people. We help a bunch of people get into treatment. We help a bunch of people get into recovery homes. And how we do that is we scholarship people into recovery homes. We sell merchandise. We got hats and shirts. All 100% of the proceeds go to get people into recovery homes. And that's what we do. I think alone this year alone, we've been to 7 events, and I've already scholarshiped 150 people into recovery homes straight out of treatment. Because I've been getting out of treatment and my family didn't want to help me because I burned all my bridges. You know, I didn't have anything. I got out of treatment. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know where I was going to go. I didn't have any hygiene, didn't have any clothes. I didn't even know what I was going to do. So this way people can call us and be like, hey, I'm getting ready to get into a recovery home. I don't have the money to get in. Can you help us out? I'll give them a couple weeks worth of rent. Not to them. I'll give it to the recovery home, the manager, the owner, and then we'll give them a little hygiene pack, man, and like help them move them along, you know, try to give them a leg up. And so we do have a bunch of shirts and hats, so feel free to come over and support the cause and help the next person get in there. That would be awesome. So I mentor a bunch of guys in early recovery. Myra mentors women in early recovery. I sponsor like 7 guys right now, and they're all doing good. They're all working steps and doing what they're supposed to be doing. Myra sponsors, and she's got a sponsor, and it's like, and this is a way of life. It's awesome. And I'm so happy to see my homie Tyler over here came back, man. You know, I showed up at his house and tried to do an intervention on him, and he looked at me and he's like, "This was you, wasn't it, man?" He wasn't too happy about it either, but he wasn't ready. That's just what it was, and you know, and that's one thing I had to come to realize too, is that, you know, it doesn't matter what we do with people, man. Like if they're not ready, they're not going to change. And like, you know, we can duct tape them, put them in the trunk, take them to treatment all day long, but they'll just walk out the back door and that's it. You know, the best way, if you're dealing with anybody and still stuck in the disease of addiction, is completely cut them off on everything, because then they'll hit their bottom faster. I mean, like, it's a hard thing to do. Trust me, I had to do it to my sister, and. You know, that's a real tough subject for me, man, because I miss my sister was my best friend, and she's not with us anymore because of addiction. And like, man, I had to cut her off completely. Used to hang out with her all the time. Used to visit with her and help her and all kinds of stuff, but I couldn't do it anymore. I can't hang out in the lion's den and not get eaten by the lion. You know, I got to look out for my recovery, and I know that if I go there, the temptation will be great, and I'll end up using. And like, you know, kind of like what Tyler was saying, like, it doesn't matter. Like, for me, if I put one in me, it doesn't matter what it is. One drink, one smoke, whatever it is, I'm off to the races. It doesn't matter. Like, I've already been through this cycle over and over and over again. So, like, basically, I'll drain my bank accounts, and then once I'm broke, then I'm out robbing people, and then I end up either shot back in the hospital, overdosed, or back in jail again, heading back to prison again. And I know my limitations. I play the tape forward. I always play that tape forward because I know where I've been. I also keep everything at the forefront of my mind because, man, I never will have this. I always got to work on this every single day. Like, my recovery has to come first no matter what. I have to constantly work on it every single day, and I cannot backslide, because if I backslide, that'll be in dangerous waters and could lead me back to active addiction. And I don't know about you guys, I'm a monster in addiction. Nobody wants to party with me, that's for sure. I also learned, like I was talking about, I have to get out of my own comfort zone. I cannot grow in a comfort zone. If I push myself constantly out of my own comfort zone, I'll be able to grow into life. So if I notice myself getting comfortable in different situations, I'll step out of those situations and get something a little more uncomfortable, because that's how I grow. And I've learned that over these last few years. So I'm going to back up real quick. So when I was 30 years old, I met my dad for the first time. I'm 42 now, right? So this is 12 years ago. I met my dad for the first time when I was 30 years old. I was in active addiction. He was in active addiction. We partied together. That's how we bonded. Not a really good way to bond, but it is what it is, right? So this last bit that I did down in Shawnee, I was down there for 3 years. I came back after my 3-year bit, and he already went to treatment, and he got clean. He got clean at the age of 65. A week and a half ago, he's now 72 years old, and he just celebrated 7 years clean. That goes to show it doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter how young you are. I know 17-year-olds right now that are in recovery. Their life was unmanageable. They could not manage it. Drugs and alcohol got out of control with them, and now they're in recovery. Dude, and I walk up to him, give him the biggest hug in the world, and I'm like, I wish I would have 17, man. I'd probably be a millionaire right now. Holy cow. So, I mean, it's crazy because, like, you know, it took me 35 years, and I got a 20-year-old son right now that and he did dabble here and there, you know, with this, and I'm already telling him, like, hey, check this out. You're already predisposed, like, you have the gene. Just letting you know, you're already an addict, even if you're not using. So if you decide to use, it's going to go overboard, and I'm just letting you know that. So about a month ago, he's 20 years old, I had to kick him out of my house. Which was really tough for me to do. And that's that tough love. And I had to cut him off completely because he was hanging out with the wrong people. He thought it was okay to smoke weed and drink and do all this other stuff, and then come back to my house loaded. And I'm like, dude, this house is about recovery. Why are you coming back to my house loaded? That's crazy. And before anything could happen, I kicked him out. He slept on the streets for about a week and a half. And then his boss got him into a recovery home, and now he's in a recovery home. And he's going to meetings, yeah. He's going to meetings now. He has to have a sponsor. He has to do a bunch of different stuff in order to stay in this house. And that was his gift of desperation. You know, he called me up and be like, I ain't had a shower in 5 days. I'm like, dude, the truck stop's down the street, bro. Go to the truck stop, bro. What, I can't come home and shower? No. Like, dude, you've been using. I don't want you around my house. There's no way. So I take my recovery seriously, right? So I don't hang out with people that use. I stick with the winners. I constantly protect my recovery. And I also protect my fiance's recovery, Myra's too, because, like, that's important. She goes down, I'm probably going with her. If I go down, she's probably going with me. So, I mean, like, we got to make sure that we have that common ground and know, like, our limitations. I'm just grateful to be here, you know. I'm grateful to be alive because I really should be alive right now. I do believe that was Jesus that kept me alive. I do believe that, today I'm so grateful that, I'm able to do this kind of stuff, be able to reach as many people as possible, spread the message of hope and recovery, and keep doing the right things for the right reasons. I'm going to leave you guys with this. Basically, when I first came into the rooms, I have a guy that I know that's got like 38 years clean, and I heard a lead that he said, and it stuck with me since like my first week in recovery. And what he said at the end, was that if my higher power gave me judgment instead of grace and mercy, I'd have a toe tag instead of a key tag today. Grateful recovering addict named Jonathan, Chicago Hope Dealers. Come see me over at the booth. Love you guys.
Luke, are you around?